All right, welcome guys. Um, this is going to be one more video on Lua scripting for Dual Universe. Some of you had been asking for a script following up the script I did for our ore monitoring, and you guys wanted to know how you could use this to track any other part in your factory. So instead of just modifying this, I wanted to have a different look at it. So this is what we're gonna cover today. This is the new script. So you can have up to 28 different containers being displayed in one screen. If you need more than that, I guess you can just duplicate the setup. This video is going to be a little bit long, but I am going to break it down into a couple parts to hopefully provide something for everybody else. So the first part, I'm going to cover kind of like my approach to the script and a quick rundown for you, for those of you that are familiar with the scripts and you don't need a walkthrough to it. All the code is going to be, there's going to be a link to the GitHub repo, so you can grab everything from there. There's instructions in there as well. So I think just with the code and a quick walkthrough, some of you will be all set. Once we do that, then we'll go through a step-by-step on how to set this up from scratch. So first of all, you can track anything with this script, so it doesn't have to be like this specific set of materials or containers that I'm tracking right now. This is just an example. So you can customize the title, so you can call this whatever you want. I added something. I know green and red are not very friendly with colorblind. So I added the ability to change the colors as well. So there'll be some Lua parameters in there that for you guys who want to change the colors, make it a little bit easier to see. So I've seen some scripts out there that have kind of the same approach that I have with the ore monitor, where it shows you a percentage, and that makes a lot of sense when you're looking at the ore monitor, just because you're just dumping as much ore as you can in there. You just want to know when it's low and go get, go mine, or if you have an org, let the miners know that, hey, we're low on tier 1 or tier 2 or whatever you need. But from a parse perspective, I didn't think something like a percentage makes much sense. Just because a container can hold, this small containers, you can hold, 10,000, for me, 10,400 kiloliters worth of stuff, which is a lot. It's probably thousands of this thing. So for example, in this case, I only have 10 of these and I don't really need much of it. So some of these complex parts, or some of the more rare parts, you only need a few. So if I do just percentage of the entire mass of the container, that would be like 1%. So that would be always a critical, and it's not. I just want to keep 10 parts or 5 or something like that. So in some of these cases, I have like 20 for some things, and then some things that you do want to keep 300 or 1,000 of them. So you want to have the flexibility. So I didn't feel like having a percentage of the entire mass of the container was a good approach. I'm looking at it more from like inventory logistics type thing. So I just wanted to know how many I have and be able to set some breakpoints on what I want to call low, meaning, hey, something either is not keeping up with the production or is starting to run low for me to go take a look at it or start thinking about it, or is red, is critical, like, hey, I'm about to run out of this particular part, so I can either go check it out, did it bugged out and it stopped, I need to restart the industry, am I out of materials, am I using more than I'm producing, whatever. So I wanted a quick visual that, without being too much into it, just by looking at this, even without being able to really read what it is, I can see, hey, I have a couple things in red, a couple things in yellow, and let me take a look. And that's kind of what I like about the ore monitor that I made in the past, where it's easy to just see what's what's bad and go look at it and then, you know, by tiers or whatever. But I just wanted that visual. I really like that bad, like the red or green, you know, to give you that sense of urgency and just give you the important information. How much do I have, and do I have to worry about it, and like what is the urgency of it, and that's it. So a quick setup. Again, all the code is available to you guys in GitHub, so grab it, use it as you wish. There's no limitations on it. Do what you want. If you're republishing or whatever, you know, throw my name in there or something like that, I'm good with that. So what do you need? You're gonna need a medium screen. We're gonna need a manual switch, a relay, 4 programming boards, and 3 databanks. So what's in here? So let's take a look at. So this looks a little crazy, but the primary board gets connected to the screen, gets connected to the switch then gets connected to the relay, and then relay connects to the screen and all the boards, so everything turns on and off all together. And then from here you connect it to the first databank, and then you connect the second and third databank as well. So the first board is pulling data from the 3 databanks. And then after that, just connect the containers. The first board only handles the first 5 containers. And then after that, each board just has 1 databank connected, and then the rest all are containers. So once you go to GitHub, grab the code. So you'll see the instructions. All you have to do is just copy the whole line of code. Then you come here, right click, advanced, and then you would do paste LUA configuration from clipboard. So if you already know how to do this, you just slap it in there, and that's gonna create everything for you. Then you go through, link everything. It has to be linked in order. So that is a must. If you look inside the code, you would see these are all the slots. So connect them in order. So first you would connect whatever the third database is, the databank, then the container. So you kind of have to know which containers and this order will be different once you connect it. So just keep that in mind and just make sure everything's connected to the correct container. So the way I do it, and you'll see in my step-by-step, I do it one at a time so that I know what it is, and I fill out all the LUA parameters as I go, one at a time. That way I don't have to come back and figure out which one do I link where or whatever. So let's take a look at these parameters. So there's a lot of stuff to fill out. The first board has more parameters than all the other ones. So the first thing is your title, and this, please do not remove the quotes. All right, so just fill in the text in here. You can change it to whatever you want in here. Demo script, I don't know, whatever. So if we save that, restart, you will see that that changes the title. So perfect. So what else do we have in here? You can, like I mentioned before, you can change the colors. So critical, that's what you read at 25% is. You low color is yellow at 50%, and then everything else is green. So you can change this to blue, pink, fuchsia, whatever. In the GitHub repo, in that section that talks about changing the colors, I added a link to a website that has like all the list of CSS, I guess, friendly name for colors. So you can pick and choose whatever you want, and then just slap the name in here. Make sure you go to the bottom and click OK to save the settings. The next thing that you're gonna have to, by default, all these flags are enabled. So the next one is show safety stock. So safety stock is a logistics term for, I guess, like what's the optimal level of inventory that you want to keep at a glance. So for example, in this container, well, 1,000 is only 5% of the container, so it's not what the maximum amount is that you can put in the container, but it's like how much you want to have in here. So for me, I want to keep 1,000, so that is like that's my level. So for you, might be 500, might be 2,000, 5,000, 10,000, whatever makes sense. That like that's like the optimal level that you want to keep, that you like your 100%. So it's not the maximum that you can fit in here. It's just whatever amount you want to consider to be 100%. That's what safety stock is, and that flag controls whether or not you want to show it here. So in here you have quantity and safety stock. So that I added that because I wanted to, that's maybe a number that you want to change, and if you only have the quantities, you kind of want to know like, well, what did I set my safety stock on, and instead of trying to go through each one, open the Lua parameters, see what you set it to change it, you can actually see it here, like, oh, okay, this is set to 100. Let me go back and, you know, I'm keeping 300, so maybe go back and change that to 500, or, you know, something. So it's an easy visual to see what your safety stock level is, and then what your actual quantity of it is. If you don't want that, since it adds a lot of busyness to the script, you can uncheck that, save it, we'll restart, and that is going to change it to just quantities. Now that flag applies to each board. So this is the first board, this is the second board, and someone here is the third, and then the fourth board. So you would have to uncheck that for each one of them. Yeah, so that's pretty straightforward. That's what that does. All right, let's see what else do we have. These DB1, DB2, DB3 enable. This is set in there so that if you don't need to use all 28 slots, all 4 boards, you could use the script with less containers, and then you would have to obviously not link some stuff. So this way, if you don't want to use the last 5 that this board is putting into DB3, then you can just uncheck that. That way it doesn't throw any errors, because otherwise the script is checking for trying to pull data from that third data bank, expecting slots to be connected in there, and it's going to throw errors. So if you're not using the last board, you can just, you know, disconnect it, whatever, and then just uncheck this. That way you don't get any script errors because you're not using that. If you need to only use the first board, you would disable this as well. So it gives you the flexibility of not having to use all 28 of them. You can use 10, 15, 20, whatever. And the next part is pretty straightforward. So you would have the same 1, 2, 3, 4, well, I guess 5 variables for each one of the containers. So this only has 5 because the first script has all the databases and the screen and all that. But then all the other ones will have 8, 9, depending on the board. And the last one only has 5, I think, as well. So the first one is, if you're not using all the slots within a board, if you just unlink something, you're gonna get a script error again, because it's trying to pull data from something that is not gonna return a value, right? So if, for example, I'm disconnecting what container 1 is linked to, I will get an error. But if I uncheck this, save it, then the code is not trying to pull data from that container that is not linked. So that's how you can control not using part of the script. So you would have to, a combination of all these flags, kind of like turn things off so the code is not checking for stuff. So this one controls the first container, this one the second container, and so on. So each one is going to have that. By default, they're all on. So all the scripts are set that way. So by default, you would use all 28 of them. So if you don't need it, just turn things off and the errors will go away. The next thing is the label. So this will be what do you want this to be. So in this case, that was set to basic pipe. If I wanted to change that, I would just save that, refresh, and then you would see that that changes the name. So whatever you link to, so if I'm linking this, I would type basic component because that's what I'm tracking. You can only track one thing in a container. So if you have something like this is gonna throw off the quantities big time, because you have this probably have similar weights. So you might get a total number of this, but this definitely throws everything off. And then you won't know which one. So you want to have one container per element. Sorry about all the factory noise. Okay, so let's finish this here. Container density. So this is how much each unit mass is for this particular item. So let's see, where's pipe? I think pipe is here, right? Yeah, so this is what I'm connecting here. So the way you get that number is you right click on the items, inspect item, and then here's your unit mass. So 2.4. That's all you need to grab for that. So that's what's in here. 2.4. There you go. So, and then safety stock, I want to keep 2,500 of it. So that's what is considered 100%. And then you have the same set of flags for container number 2, container number 3, container number 4, and number 5. So you just have to go through each one of these. Keep in mind the length in this field. As you can see, some of this stuff can get pretty lengthy. So if I actually write the word advanced in here, this will turn into like a two-line field, and it'll push everything below it. So this quantum align 2 will go below here. You won't be able to see it. It'll screw up the CSS on it. So try to keep everything in one line. So you gotta get a little creative with some of the names, but that's by all the caveat in that. And yeah, that's pretty much. So if you know how to set up a script, you are good to go with that. Information on what the flags are, and a little bit of a step-by-step is also in the instructions in GitHub, so feel free to grab that. And yeah, you should be good. Anytime we pretty much every single issue that anyone has had with the scripts has been with linking things. And if you stick around for the step-by-step, you'll see how I'm linking things. But yeah, so if you're trying to connect, if you connect like what container 5 is to the databank, you're gonna get all kinds of errors because it is trying to pull the mass of the container. The databank doesn't support that API call, so you're gonna get an error because you get a null value. And then, I mean, worst case scenario, if you connect container 5 to what actually container 3 is, then you'll just get a different quantities that don't match what you want because it's the different weights and whatnot. So just keep that in mind. If you have any errors with, you know, anything to do with trying to do some math with a nil value, whatever, it's probably because you have a container link slot actually linked to something like the switch, the screen, or the databank. That's pretty much all. That's pretty much the only error anyone had with the OR monitor is always the linkage. Then if you just unlink everything, go back, do it one at a time, make sure things align correctly, you should be good to go. Oh, one more thing that I did run into an issue is do not add dashes in the name. So for example, these alloys, they all have a dash in between the name. If you add it, it will display in here correctly, but when you go back into the LUA parameters, you will notice that the parameter is gone, so you can't change it. So if you run into that issue, you have to go into the code, remove the dash, save it, and then the parameter will show up in the LUA parameter list. So yeah, that was a random thing that that was a head scratcher. So don't add any weird symbols or anything like that in the names because it screwed up the code. Cool. So hope you enjoy it. So now for the long part of this video, which is actually we're gonna go through, because last time in the OR monitor, everyone asked, can we do a step-by-step, just because they were having a hard time getting things to work. And obviously this script is a lot more involved, so I definitely think that we need the step-by-step. So I haven't walked through the step-by-step, so bear with me, but we're gonna do this together. All right, so let's do what we gotta do. But let's put all the parts together first. So what do we need here? We need a screen, right? All right, well, cool. We need 3 data banks. So 1, 2, and 3. And I promise I'll align that. Don't let your LCD scare you away. And then we need a switch, and we need a relay. What else do we need? We need the programming boards, 4 of those. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, and 4. Cool. Let me turn this off so we don't have all that in there. All right, cool. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to GitHub. And let's see. You think I have this ready, huh? Okay. I'm gonna go to scripts, and I'm gonna write the primary board code. I like to look at it raw. You grab everything. So I just copy pasted the whole code out of GitHub, and then I'm gonna hover over the first board. That's gonna be the primary board. Go to advanced, and we're gonna go to paste LUA configuration from clipboard. So that's gonna take all the code that is in your clipboard right now. So you just copy paste it, and then that is going to apply it to the programming board, and that is gonna automatically rename all the slots, add the filters, and add the code. We're gonna do that. So now to go into the code, you can either hover over the board and press Control L, or you can right click, advance, and then edit Lua script. So you see Control plus L right there as a shortcut. So that's an easy one. All right, so as you can see here, all the links are already set. So like I mentioned, you have to link things in order. So first we would do the container, container 1, whatever that is going to be. Then we will set up the screen, then DB1, DB2, so that's Databank 1, Databank 2. So Databank's DB1 is going to be the DB that is that the secondary board 1 will connect to, and then primary secondary board 2 will connect to DB2, and secondary board 3 will connect to DB3. So if you follow, if you connect things in this order, you'll be all good to go. But let's go through that setup. So like I mentioned earlier, I like to do the setup one at a time, just to keep things simple, and it keeps me on track. So let's see, what do we want to track first? Let's track this basic container here. Okay, so I like to set up all the parameters ahead of time. And a little quick tip here, if you inspect the item and then do not exit out, just press escape. If we go back into here, advance, edit Lua parameters, you would see that everything is set to default right now. So default label 00000. So everything is just turned off, or I guess set to default. So let's do script. Can't see. There you go. Script demo. We're gonna leave the colors as yellow or red, yellow, green. We'll mess with that later. And then, so the first component here, it's a little bit hard to see, but it is kind of translucent here. You can, you can kind of see what's in here. So I don't have to remember any of this stuff. So basic component. And this label here is case sensitive. So if you want everything capital letters, just type it in capital letters. It's not gonna automatically capitalize things for you. And the density, I can see it right here, is 2.25. So hopefully you guys can see that on the screen. If not, you should be able to see it in the game. If not, I don't know. I play with like brightness all the way up on pretty much any game. So if you cannot see that, then I guess you just have to make a mental note or write it down or whatever. And then safety stock, for that I want to keep 1000. So that's what I'm consider to be my optimal. I'm gonna press OK on that. Then we're gonna go back in here, back into the code. We can see container 1 is highlighted, so that means it's linked, good to go. The next thing I'm gonna connect is the screen, and then DB1 and then DB2. So let's do that. So the screen, and if we go back into the code, we can see that that is correct. It lines up. So as long as you do it in this order, you're all good to go. So then we're gonna do DB1, and then we'll do DB2. So that's an easy one, and I promised I was gonna move this. So DB1 goes to what secondary board 1 is, DB2 right here, and DB3 right there. Move this here, this here. All right. So let's go back into the code here. So we're making progress. Next thing is container 2, then 3, then 4. So container 2, what should we track next? So it kind of makes sense to track this here. So without going into industry stuff, this is my cache. So this is actually the same stuff. So this is basic components, gets pulled here, gets thrown in here, so I can have more links, because this is something that I use a lot. So you're gonna have to go in here again, inspect the item. So when I'm doing 1 and 2, I just leave that open, but as we closed it, we'll go back in here. And then if we go advanced, edit LUA parameters, all we'd have to do is just duplicate this. So I guess I didn't have to look at it, but you get the point. Component 2.25. Again, the number is the unit mass right here. Just pay attention that is the actual unit mass. Don't grab like whatever your total mass is. So this is just each item weighs 2.25 kilograms. And then safety stock for that. It looks like I have less on the second container, so we'll do 500 for that one. Do okay. Back in here, check it. Perfect. So container 1, container 2 are set. Next thing is container number 3. So who's gonna be lucky number 3? Let's see, do we have anything here? Yes, let's track that. Again, I like that it just had the inspect item window open. That way I don't have to remember anything, because you have no idea how many times before I figured it out, I would go link something, look at it, and I'm like, all right, this is the name, this is the density. I will come over here to the parameters and completely forgot what the number was, and I gotta go back or look it up. So this makes it very simple. Or if you get stopped, distracted, whatever, you have to go back and look at it. So we're doing on common component. And the density for this is 2.34. And we're gonna keep 1,000. Well, oh. Back into the code. See what's next. Container number 4. So let's see, what are we gonna track next? I don't have anything here. Do I have anything here? We have 2 things, so that will probably not a good candidate. Let's track something over here. Let's see. Oh god, this is loud. All right, let's not track something over there. Sorry, I didn't plan accordingly. I'm already tracking all this stuff. Oh, screw it. We can track the same things. That's fine. All right. So what's in here? Steel. Cool. All right. So, advanced, edit LUA parameters. I wish they'd add another shortcut for parameters. That way I have to click through it. All right. So number 4. That is going to be steel. And the density for steel is 8.05. And I know for all those materials I keep as 2,000, so we'll put 2,000. All right, cool. Back into the code. What's next? Next is actually a switch, or the switch, because there's only one in the whole setup. So that's an easy one. That's right there. So for the switch, if you're not familiar with how this works, I have it in the code. You can look in the code and the start filter. But when it starts, this activates this. So it will be the same as you pressing F on it to turn on. But when you actually start the board, this will get started. And then by passing it to a relay, whatever signal you pass to this, it gets routed or just kind of like a splitter of sorts. So the moment you click on goes to here, and on goes to whatever this is connected to. So we're gonna connect the screen, and then we're gonna connect each one of the secondary boards. The data banks don't need to be turned on, they're on all the time. So that's it. So whenever we turn this on, it automatically turns this on, which sends the signal to here, and then everything else gets turned on. So that way all the scripts start running, the screen turns on, and you're good to go. If you turn this off, an off signal goes to here, off signal gets passed down to a relay, and the relay relays it to everything else. And that's pretty much it. So we go back in here and we see switches light up. And then we gotta do the last container for this primary board, and then the DB3. All right, so what are we tracking next? Let's track whatever is in here. Next. All right, what's in here? Cinnamon. Cinnamon. All right. Again, advanced, edit LUA parameters, and don't have to remember how to spell it because I can see it right there. Lemon. I can't say it. I don't know why. All right, and that is easy 3, and safety stock same 2000. Cool. And then we just have to do the last data bank, and that's it. We are good to go for the primary board. Let's turn on. There you go. We have stuff. So as we can see, we already broke one of the rules, which was keep everything in one line. So that uncommon component needs to be shortened. So let's do, I don't know, down to that. That should do it. And we're good to go. Perfect. So let's see. In the second one, we had 380. Yeah, 380. So that looks good. Let's see. Let's validate another one. Let's see. A steel. We have 2762. There you go. Right here. Oh, that's right. 2761.25. So it's being rounded up. So close enough. Cool. So that is the primary board. So if we go into here, if you rename element, you can change that to primary board if you want to call it, or board 1, or whatever you want to call it. Let's say we do demo board 1. I already have a primary board 1. All right. There is that. So if we turn this off, turn it back on, we can see in the bottom right here that says demo board 1. So that's what the name is. The script doesn't have the names. That is a generic name for, like, that's the actual ID of the board. You can name that whatever you want. It's not gonna screw up the script at all. So just go into build mode, right click, rename element, and you can name it whatever makes sense to you. All right, so I'm gonna go back into GitHub. And I'll probably show you guys this. So this is where I grabbed the first one, right? I'm gonna go back in here, scripts. I'm gonna go to secondary board 1, and my Control A, Control C. So I have all the code. All right, come on. Then I'm gonna right click on the second board, advance. Paste LUA configuration from clipboard, and then if we look into the code, everything's already here. So in this case, we're gonna do the data bank 1 first, and then the containers are in order 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Perfect, easy enough. And then if we look at the start, this only has the script with the ticker, and then all the codes in here. So everything's already set for you. Yeah, if you want to go in there and look at it, play around, whatever. So let's do linkage. So the primary board 1 links to DB1, right? So this is where we're gonna grab the values from here. We're gonna store them in DB1, and then that way the primary board can read it from here. The same thing with 2 and 3. So each one of these boards save a value in here, and then the primary board accesses it and reads it and displays it on the screen. All right, so what's next? Container 1. What are we tracking? Let's go to whatever the next. What was the last thing we tracked? I don't think we tracked this. All right, let's track that and inspect it. Go back in here. Advance. Edit LUA parameters. The safety stock, again, if you want to display on the quantity column, if you want to display a quantity / safety stock, just leave it as is. If you don't like that, you want to just only display the quantities, just uncheck this, and you have to uncheck that flag in each board to turn that off. So we're gonna go into here, and then we'll fill that lumen and 2.8 safety stock 2000. Save it, and we're done. So next is container number 2 for this board. So we'll track the bottom container here. Let's see what's in here. All right, so this, remember, do not add random symbols in the names. So that dash in between the name of the alpha LUA, you have to, I do not add it. So this dash, don't put it in here, it'll screw it up. Right. So I'll just do space LUA, and then I'm gonna do 1 just because it's the bottom one, that way I know which container that is. And then 7.5 for the density right here, and I'm gonna keep again 2000 for that one. Then we'll do the next container, which is the second part of that. Back into advanced, edit LUA parameters. Level 2, 7.5, and 2000 as well. All right, we're trucking. So if you haven't catch on yet, we're gonna do the same thing for each one of the boards. So if you're good to go, you're good to go. Otherwise, just stay a while. All right, let's check where we're doing in these links. There we go. Yep. All right. It lagged. All right, so we did 1, 2, 3. Perfect. So 4, 5. Yeah, these are easy. They're in order. For once. Perfect. All right, so next container. So we did the second one here. Let's track whatever's in here. So what's in here? Stainless steel. Perfect. Fans. Edit LUA parameters. Stainless steel, and the density for this is 7.75, and just like everything else in there, we'll keep about 2000. Right, next, whatever's in here. What's in here? This alloy. All right. Click. Let's edit LUA parameters. Oh, alloy. Okay. The density for this is 2.5, and we want to keep 2000. Again, that safety stock number is whatever makes sense to you. I use 2000 because that's what I have. All this whatever they call them, refiners, set to or the smelters set to 2000 to maintain 2000. So that makes sense to me to keep it at that. So that number can be whatever you want it to be. All right. Sorry, link. I grab the right board. All right. So we did that one. I will do this. What's in here? Don't have much of that. I am due for a mining run, which I hate mining. All right, so next is UA. The density for this is 9.2, and just like everything else, we're gonna keep 2000 as a safety stock. All right, next we'll track whatever's in here. Canal, or whatever that name is. Oh. Yeah, it's got pay attention. Just messed it up there. Oh, again, do not delete those quotations. All right, and the density for this is 8.5, and we want to keep 2000 as well. All right, next, yeah, track whatever's the bottom on this. Calcium reinforced copper. Alright, so this one I already know that I need to get creative with the name because it doesn't fit a long name. So we'll do calcium. Where's this is one, bottom one. That's enough. And this is 8.1, and we want to keep 1000. Right. And then the last one is this, oh, second one is there, and it's the same. You know what, this is T label, the default label. I need to update that. Anyways, we'll type the same. Copper 2 and 8.1 and 2000. So there you go. So we're done with board number 2. There you go. So now we see everything else that we added. So up to here, I think it was actually up to here it was board 1, and it just seamlessly adds the rest. So yeah, see how the calcium reinforced copper 1 went in 2 lines and it pushed the next one, so we can even see what the inventory is for that one. So let's fix that. Let's see that. I might do it. 1 letter. Yeah, that did it. All right, cool. So there you have it. Secondary board 1 is done. Oh, let's rename that. Demo secondary board 1 is a long name. All right, and if we turned it off, turn it back on, we have, see that in the bottom, demo secondary board 1. All right, cool. So things are working. So data is being collected by this board, being stored in this database, and then this board is reading it and displaying it here correctly. All right. So let's keep trucking. So now we gotta do the next board. So let me bring GitHub back. So now we'll go back into scripts, and now we're doing secondary board number 2. Copy that code. Right click, advance, paste, do a configuration. And if we go into here, do the same thing. So same code. These two are exactly the same. This one would have a slightly different configuration, and we'll talk about that in a second, because this one only has like the last 5. So some of the slots are actually out of by default disabled because you can't display anymore. All right, so next thing we're gonna do is well, go in here. What the first thing we got linked, the database. So in this case, DB1 is this right there. Okay. Yeah, so I can see how that might be a little confusing, but essentially in the slots they're called DB1s for this ones because it's like the primary database for Databank for this. But in here they're called 1, 2, and 3. If that's too confusing, let me know. You can update the scripts, but I think it's fine. Okay, so next is container 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So perfect. That makes it easy. All right, what else do we want to track? I don't know. What else do we got that is trackable? We got too much random stuff. You can track all these things here. Let me remove all this links from the my actual. Now I'm regretting this because that is my actual screen that I was using. Anyways, I just didn't want to get confused by all this green line going in here. All right, so we'll track this, which is what, this polycarbonate. Yep. And I'm out of polycarbonate. I use that a lot. Okay. Now we go into here. Okay. Plastic 1. And the density for that is 1.4. And we want to keep, I think for down, actually I'm keeping 3000 because I do use that a lot. All right. Okay, to save it. Then the next link we know is the top one, and it is the same material in there. So type everything again. Yep. And 1.4 and 3000. Okay. Always click OK to save, and that's actually the only way you can get out of this screen anyways. All right, next, I guess we'll track all this plastic here. So what's in there? Polycalcite. Advance. Have to move a little bit faster here since we already done a lot of this stuff. I think we're only tracking a little bit of that, so do 1000. Oh. Ah, look at this. We already made a mistake. This was supposed to go up here. So, luckily these two are the same. We'll check after that these quantities are correct, but this is supposed to be 1. So this is why I like to do it one at a time, because it does get a little confusing. Easy to make a mistake when you're doing the same thing over and over and over. All right. Cool. All right, next we're gonna tract whatever is in here. This is what, polysulfide. Polysulfide. Ah, see? So I left it empty, and I guess that screws it up as well. So if whatever label you are trying to edit is not here, fortunately you're going to have to go into the code to fix that. So if you click a unit on the tick, we will find out what container. Yep, container 5. Yep, this one right here. So leaving it empty breaks it apparently. Same with dashes. I haven't tested any of the symbols, but probably the same thing. So we can either put the actual name in here, or we can just put something, apply, and then now if we go into, and actually we probably need to restart the board. There's that. And we go to advanced, edit LUA parameters. There it is. So that's how you get those labels back. So if you put any random symbols, or I guess if you leave it empty and save it, it'll disappear and actually remove the parameter from this. So that's how you get it back in the list. So now I forgot what we were putting in here. I closed it. What am I doing? All right, back to what we were doing. Sorry about that. But that was a good segue into troubleshooting. Polysulfide. And the density for this is 1.6. And I have no idea how much I'm keeping in that, so we'll just do 1,000 for now. Yep. The next one is going to be second one of that. We don't make that mistake again. So this does take a lot of time to set up, but once you set it up, it pays off. You don't have to set it and forget it type thing, and it is a very helpful tool. All right, how many we got left? We have 3 more left. All right, almost there. All right, what else can we track? I don't even know what else can we track here. I think that all these have like doubles. Yeah, all these are individual, so let's track this. What's in here? There's nothing in there, so let's not track that. Well, you know what? Let's track it so you can see what happens if you link something that is empty. All right, I think I did something wrong here. Maybe not. All right, let's see. So what's supposed to be in here is this advanced antimatter core. So if you have nothing in there to look it up, you can go to the industry and then right click in here, inspect item, and then same thing, escape. That's how you can grab that information there. And then we're gonna the LUA parameters, and that would be here. So I know that I cannot write the entire name of this because it will go over. It will wrap around. So antimatter, think core, and then that should be enough. And the density for this is a little heavy, 107.08. And we only keep 20 of that because those are take an hour to make. Okay. Okay. What else can we track? Let's track what's on the other side of this. So in here we have this advanced quantum alignment units. Inspect that. Oh, by the way, this is my warp drive or warp cell factory. All goes into here, my warp cells. Because I hate PvP in this game, so I avoid it. All right. Oh, see right there? I did what I told you guys not to do, which is add the dash. So just keep that in mind, because it's you know, when you're looking in here and just kind of copying over, easy to grab that dash. So we'll fix that after this. So advanced quantum align, leave it at that. The density for this is 35.78, and I think I'm gonna keep 20 as well. Okay. So again, to fix that label disappearing from the list of parameters, we go into the code, and then you just gotta find the area for the container where that is kept. So this is essentially the code for each container. This is container 6, this is container 7. So here's that dash that I put in there. So what you can do is just remove it in here, apply, and then if we go back into advanced, you see it right here. So we got the container 7 label field back. All right. So next is the second one of these. Yep, there it is. And this is the exact same thing. Easy. 9 and 35, 7 and 20. And we are done with this board. Now refresh everything. There you have it. So there is our third board, and then the last board will have obviously only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 containers in here to fill the table. Okay, so we bring GitHub back, scripts, and then secondary board 3. We'll grab all the code for it. And again, we're gonna go into the last board, right click, advanced, paste LUA configuration from clipboard. And then if we look at the code, you'll see that this has DB1, so the Databank attached to it, and then container 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the last 4 slots are set to empty. So you don't have to use them, or you don't need to use them because there's no more room to display anything in there. I guess if you want to repurpose them for something else, that's at your own risk. But all right, so we'll go DB1 and then container 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's start with the link. So DB1 is the database Databank for this. So that's done, and then we'll go into containers. I don't even know what else can we track here. We might have to track some of the same stuff that we're tracking with another script. Maybe we'll track this. So what's in here? All this is fuck. Screw it. I guess we'll track steel again. I don't really have that many containers anymore. I mean, and this is all pure, which that can be tracked with that, and then that's all my ore. So kind of limited to this, and my industry has been is set to pretty much just this warp cells. That's pretty much all I use lately. Above this is 9 large cores worth of stuff that I've been building above this factory. So that's what I've been busy, instead of I just kind of set up the basics of my industry and then just my warp cells. I don't have much going on in this industry at the moment. All right. So we're tracking steel again. Again, you can use this for whatever container. So it could be ship parts, building parts, I don't know, whatever components in between, you can build that. The ore monitor, if you want to use it for ore, the ore monitor is probably better for this, unless you want everything in one screen. I guess you can repurpose this one, but the other one has nice big font, and it's separated by tiers, and you have percentages, which makes a lot more sense in there. All right, anyways. And we keep 2000. Okay. Let's try to. There's gotta be something else we can track, right? Like, I gotta have something else. What do we have here? I think this is oxygen and oxygen and hydrogen. All right, so let's track that. Click item. So and 1, easy. And for this, we do keep 10,000, which is pretty much the whole container full. All right. Next, let's track hydrogen. And for this is 0.07. That's pretty light. Okay, and for that also 10,000. 2 more. Actually, you know what? Let's leave it at that so that we can show how to disable some of this stuff. In this case, we're gonna use 26 out of the 28. So let's refresh everything. Oh, yeah, so right there we're getting a script error. So let's go into the code, and we can see attempt to index a null value container 4. So that is because we don't have container 4 or 5 hooked up. So it's trying to pull data from it, and it gets a null value, which is like nothing, no response. So it doesn't know how to do any of the math or whatever. So to fix that, we have to go into the parameters. And we need to disable 4 and 5. That way, none of the code tries to execute for these 2 containers. Click OK. Refresh that, and there you have it. So that's it. And oh, look at that. We have 2 lines here. That is, and the border before. I think it was this one, right? No. All right. Oh, antimatter core. Yeah, I was right. All right. All right, so let's fix that. We remove the word core from that. Sure. Oh, we're already there. All right. Let's see. Okay. Refresh. There we go. So there you have it, folks. We're using 26 out of 28. So that's how you disable some containers if you don't want to use all of them. It does bother my OCD since it's not even, but yeah, the script is pretty flexible. So again, 4 boards, 3 data banks, the switch, the relay, the screen. Primary board hooks up to here, to the screen, hooks up to the switch, hooks up to each one of the data banks. Make sure you connect the element or the containers or whatever you're trying to hook up to the right slots. And the slots are this right here. They have to be hooked up in the order that they appear. If not, you will get script errors. All right, well, thanks again for all the subscribes, the likes for the last OR video. Also saw in the wild my script being used, so that was a cool moment, seeing people using that OR monitor script and some of their ships and some of their bases. People from my org, people from outside the org, which that was kind of cool. And then I even saw someone referencing some documents or whatever as it's a nice to have script for Dual Universe. So that's cool. You guys sharing and liking and using it make that happen. So thanks again for that. That was really cool to see all the support around the script. All your comments for suggestions and finding some of the bugs with the stuff and helping me test. Same thing with this script. I kind of knew I needed it, but I was kind of being lazy about it. And some of you guys continuously ask, how can you use that OR script to do something like this? So I figure once I got done building all the stuff and moving, because I moved from Tioma back to the starting area. So once I did all that, I had some free time. I was like, all right, fine, I'll work on the script. So thank you for getting me off my lazy butt and doing some scripting again. So that was fun the last couple of days working on this, figuring out how to make this happen. So